Ba-doo-be-doo, ba-doo, ba-doo-be-doo. Doo-ba-dee-doo, ba-doo, 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 ba-doo-be-doo. It's been a long, long time. Hello, everybody. I am just getting myself set up. Come on in, make yourself to home. Hello, everybody. Come on in. Welcome to another Monday night. Hey, Devlin. Woohoo! All right. So I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman, and we are going to pull some cards. So, Devlin, you were the first one on. Did you want a card? Wow, okay. I need to get caught up. Haha. So we've got Deb, and we've got Roulette, and Joe, and Devlin. I don't even have to tell you guys what's going on. It's like everyone jumps on. It's like, woohoo! Hi, Sarah. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have one spot left. Oh, hey, Marcy. Oh, Renee. Hi, Renee. You are the last. You are our 6th person. Yay. So you're just coming in. We have our 6. Thanks, Marcy, for inviting people. So we got Deb, Roulette, Joe, Devlin, Sarah, and Renee. And of course, at the end, I will pull a card for everybody. I think it might be a record. It's funny, too, because there's people who watch me every week. And most Mondays, there's another class that people watch and takes them right up to 8. And then they like zip over here to get on the list. So thank you everyone for joining. If you don't know me, I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman. And we're going to do readings with the medicine card deck, working with the totem animals. So I wasn't expecting everyone to get on so quickly. So I'm running a little behind. Please have patience. Just lighting a candle. And stop. There we go. And some sage so I can smudge the cards. And so if you are new and you don't know what's going on, every week, every Monday night, pounce and scream like a Joe Mouse. The grasshopper mouse. So I pull 6 cards. I pull a 1 card reading for the first 6 people that come on and say yes. That part has already been completed. And then at the end, I pull another card to cover everybody, whether you have had a 1 card reading or not. So there's something for everyone. And what I like to say is, even if you don't have a personal card coming up, or even if you do, I find it's really good to listen to the entire thing because there's something in every reading for everybody. You know, it's like you are the center of your reality. You draw to you the information and everything around you. And so whether you have a card or not, this information is within your perception. So it has something to do with you. So pay attention to what I say for everybody. And if something, and again, take it with a grain of salt. Like I was watching someone else's YouTube live today, another reader that I know, And she was like, disclaimer, she's like, it's like taking her words, it's like, I'm just some guy on the internet, you know. I am not a medical professional. I'm not a mental health professional. I am a shaman. And so I have connection to the spirits, the animal guides and such. But take everything I say. If it doesn't resonate with you, let it go, right? Because if I say something, even if it's your card, and I say something that doesn't make sense, it might be for someone else. Because just by being on here tonight with me, your energy affects what happens and what gets pulled and what I say, because I just basically tune into the energy. And that goes for even if you're watching this like a year, 2 years from now, the energy, the messages are just as vital and alive as they are right now, me doing this live. So there you go. And my only ask as an energy exchange is if you would please share this video. You can share it to other people's walls or pages. You can tag someone in the comments. But that is my only request tonight. Well, the only request for an exchange. So anyway, so let's get started, huh? So Deb, you were the first one on the trigger. Let's see who's coming up for you tonight. It's always funny, my guys are like, nope, you need to shuffle them again. All right, get the right one to the top. All right, Deb, you got the Crow. What's cool is sometimes I know the people who are on here and sometimes I don't. And Deb, I know you. And this just, I'm getting chills actually. All I want to say is you're getting it. The shadow work is done. You've done your shadow work, right? A lot of times when Crow comes up, and these cards anyway, especially in reverse, it's like, okay, which is the shadow and which one is really me, right? You've sorted that out. You know who you are and what your shadow is. You know what's not you. So it's like things coming into focus. And the other aspect of Crow is just their intelligence. Like, I always feel like I'm a broken record because I keep saying the same things over and over. Hopefully people don't get tired of the same old stories. But I saw a PBS special one time on, I don't remember if it was just on birds or on crows in particular, but there was this group of crows in England somewhere that had figured out the traffic light system. And so using their intelligence and their being able to plan for the future, and you know, they would wait till the lights turn green, and then they would fly over and drop nuts into the road so that the cars would drive over them and crack the nuts open. And then they would wait for the light to turn red, and they would swoop down and eat the nuts already broken open for them. Then the light would turn green, and they'd fly back up, and they'd grab more nuts, and they'd drop more nuts in the road. So what Crow is really good at is noticing patterns, seeing how things work, noticing the system, and then working the system to get what they need. So it's like all the work you've been doing lately, it's kind of like, it's like, this is like, you've done it, you're there, you're I just, like, every time I say that, I get chills. It's like, you figured out, it's like integrity. You figured out your integrity without, so that you can act within that integrity without dipping into like the shadow or into the fear or into the duality of, well, they did that to me, I'm going to do this to them kind of thing, right? That eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth kind of thing. Instead, you have risen above it, and no matter what happens, you will know how to navigate around it or through it, or how to make it work in your best interest, okay? And one of the keys to that is follow the shiny things. Like whatever glistens, whatever shiny thing gets your attention, that's your compass. Go toward the shiny. You don't need to, you've been through the dark. The dark doesn't scare you. You don't get lost in the dark anymore because you faced that shadow. You faced that darkness, right? So you can work in the shadow, you can work in the dark without losing your integrity, right? Because you know where you end and the shadow begins. Does that make sense? And when I talk about the shadow, when I talk about the darkness, I'm not...
The Shadow is a fictional character published by magazine publishers Street and Smith and writer Walter B. Gibson.
Alexa, stop! Sorry about that. Alexa was telling me about some kind of shadow by some author or something. Oh, this is for Deb. This is for Deb. Winter Fox Awakenings, Deb. People were asking who was this one for. So the shadow and that darkness, it's not a good and bad kind of thing. It's not a duality thing. The shadow is only, how do I put it? The shadow only has power over you when you don't face the shadow. But the shadow, the darkness, is the void. It's the womb of the cosmos. It's the cosmic mother. And everything comes from that void. Everything exists in that void. And what we do, Crow, being so closely related to Raven, who stole fire from the sun and brought it to the earth to bring light to a dark earth. It's very similar, right? And crows are so magical. That dark, the dark of their wings, that kind of purple, green, bluish glistening of their feathers is like the night sky. It's like they are almost an embodiment of that magic, that bibbidi-bobbidi-boo magic. So you can do anything, and your compass is to follow the shiny stuff. Whatever calls to you, whatever feels good. I've talked before about the what Martha Beck calls the shackles on, shackles off feeling, right? If something feels like the shackles are going on, if something feels restrictive or like you're having to pull your energy in or you protect yourself or something like that, that is false. Whatever that thought is, whatever that energy is, it's false. It's like, don't go that way. If it feels like the shackles came off, if it feels uplifting, lighter, and it can be really subtle, but that's the shiny. It's like, go toward the shiny. Go toward whatever feels more free. Exactly, and it's your gift, your ADHD going toward the shiny things. That's why you have that. That's why that is a part of you, because that's how your brain functions, right? And society tries to say, oh, it's a dysfunction, it's a disease, it's a, mental condition or whatever, and it's just a different way of perceiving. It's a different way of operating. And so what that means is you're able to better multitask. You can go toward that shiny thing and that. You don't have, your path is not a straight line. It's like, oh, what's that? Shoom, squirrel, shoom, you know. So it's just following the shiny. And if it feels good, that is your confirmation that that is the correct way to go. Okay? Whew. All right. Good job. Good job, Deb. Yay. I hope that is helpful. So, Roulette, you are next. It's funny because usually Roulette and Joe are the first ones on, and they're the first ones that get a card. Deb, you outgunned them tonight. All right. Roulette. Ha! Roulette, I'm pretty sure this came up for you at least in the last few weeks or month or something. But I think it was reversed, right? That's funny. Deb was pre-written, so you just had to paste. That's so funny. One of these days, maybe when, like after, sorry, Roulette, I'll get to you in a second. Part of the reason I had to move this to 8 o'clock was because I'm taking a class, and this month is the last one. So Devlin, who's on the list? So it was Deb, Roulette, Joe, Devlin, you're the fourth one up, Sarah, and Renee. And then the extra card. So, but I have a class, this awesome class where we we're going to the different zoos in the area, and we do animal communication and Reiki for the animals, and we get messages from the animals, and we do ceremony. We actually create a little prayer stick that we take with us, and we collect the prayers of the animals that are in the zoo, the animal ambassadors. And then we do a fire ceremony afterwards to release those prayers for them. It's an awesome class, but it's like on a Saturday, and then the Monday after is when we get online to have our follow-up. And so I had to move this to 8 o'clock in order to give myself room. But maybe next month or the month after, I would love to just do one of these until everyone gets a card. So we'll keep that earmarked. I'm not promising anything, but I don't like having people like that are like, can I get a card? It's like, I'm so sorry. But anyway, that said, Roulette, you got salmon. And I'm trying to remember, did you get salmon before? I want to say you got salmon a few weeks ago and it was reversed. Might have been last week, actually. And if that's the case, again, it's like with Deb, it's like a validation of how far you've come. Because salmon medicine is about coming home. Okay, I thought so. Thanks, Roulette. You literally turned things around. Salmon has such an enthusiasm, for where he's going that, river, what river? You know? He'd do anything. And it just, I tell the story about how a couple of years ago, last year, something, I went and sat by the river on this rock that kind of jutted out into the river, and there was a salmon. I kind of mentally called to him, and he came right over and just hung out under the rock I was sitting on And so like he was a little puppy or something. And so I was talking to him, and the one thing that I got from him so strong was he was just champing at the bit to get home. He was so excited. And it's like, so they do, it's not just this constant fighting the rapids. They rest, they pull off to the side to regain their strength, and then they go on. But the thing is, they don't, for most of the time, they don't get into the big, heavy current in the middle of the river. They stay kind of on the outskirts, and they follow kind of the ebb flow and the whirlpools of the river. So, in other words, they see paths that no one else does. They're not just, we use them as this puritanical example to keep fighting the good fight, and, the whole martyrdom, and, against the odds. And it's like, no, they see pathways that we don't. They follow pathways. And so what I'm getting, Roulette, is that it's just good on you. It's like you're focusing on where you're going. And by taking those steps forward and having things, I'm sure you're experiencing synchronicities. The universe is stepping in to support you on your path. Even though to onlookers, you look like you're going backwards, right? You're going against the flow of what everyone else is, but you're following your own heart. That's the key. That is your compass. And when you start moving, like Joseph Campbell said, when you start moving in the direction of, you start following your bliss, you start moving in the direction of your dreams, where there were only walls, doors will open, right? And so the same with salmon. It's like they're going to go home, come hell or high water. And by doing that, Spirit provides things like ebb flows and whirlpools. In fact, when the fish when they're jumping up the falls, every waterfall has whirlpools underneath it, right? So what they're doing, they're actually swimming in, hitting those whirlpools and slingshotting up. They're not just getting a good start and jumping of their own accord. They are using what nature provides for them in order to get where they're going. And so when you start moving in the direction of your dreams, you will find doorways like that, like whirlpools that will spring you up and over obstacles. So it's like, it can feel kind of magical, like all of a sudden, like everything is falling into place. You might hit a bump or a hiccup, and all of a sudden, boom, the right person shows up, or the right circumstances shift so that you don't have to worry about it. It's like everything is provided for you. And the thing about salmon is, when salmon comes up, you are destined to get there. You are going to get where you're going. And when you know you're going to get there, everything else just becomes adventure, because you don't have to worry about what's around the next bend of the river. If you're afraid, like if there's a chance you're not going to get there, it's kind of like, okay, am I going to get through this next obstacle, or what's around the bend that's going to take me out, right? But when you know you're going to get to the end, then everything on the way there is adventure. And every obstacle, every hiccup, every bump actually adds to your strength to become who you need to be when you arrive home, if that makes sense. I used to, even though I was raised Catholic, I kind of stumbled on creative visualization, manifesting, whatever. I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and good Catholic Irish family. And we would go to places like the State Fair, the Minnesota State Fair, the biggest fair in the country. And I loved it. I loved the celebration, feeling a celebration in the air. But it was like my biggest nightmare because I was the oldest. It was my responsibility to keep track of everyone, right? So I always walked behind, made sure no one got distracted, and followed someplace else and got lost. And at one point, somehow, I don't know how or why, I realized that if I can visualize myself in bed that night, if I can feel the pillow under my head, I can feel the blankets up around me, I knew that everything until that point was going to work out. So I could let down. I mean, I still watched, and I still, kind of shepherded everybody, but I wasn't so like on edge, white knuckling it, because I knew if I could feel myself in bed that night, that everything up to that point was going to work out. Does that make sense? You were actually singing just around the river bend from Pocahontas. Synchronicity. That's what I'm talking about. I love that. I love that. So I hope that's helpful, Roulette. Good job. All right, Joe, my friend. Let's see who's gonna come play with Joe this week. All right, Joe, you got Badger. You guys are so cool. And I love, like, you guys as Joe and Roulette, your cards are always so complimentary. Badger is about tenacity. Badger is basically a little furry tank. And he sets his intention, and then he goes for it, whether he has to go around things, over things, under things, through things. Nothing is going to stop him. He just never gives up. Like they talk about a dog badgering a bone, or someone complains because you're badgering them, right? It's that tenacity. And so it's like, I keep the words that come into my head are standing your ground, that no more wishy-washiness, no more, oh well, kind of the Eeyore, don't worry about me, I'll be okay. But it's like, no, it's like, where's my good? Where's my good? Where's my good? Okay, there it is. I'm going to go for it. Give me my good. Give me my good, to the universe. Like, whatever your desires are, whatever your dream is, it's like, okay, that's what drives you. That's what draws you forward. And, standing your ground is like, I'm not taking no for an answer, right? Because through everything else that's been going on for you, like like both Deb and Roulette, you've been doing your work. And you have gained that confidence. And that doesn't mean you don't have obstacles or challenges that come up that make you quake in your boots, right? But you still have that confidence and that courage to face it head on and to stand your ground, to know that, if you can dream it, you deserve it, you can have it, you can create it. And so no more of this, well, okay, this I wanted that, but I'll settle for this, right? So good job. This is kind of a weird thing that just popped in. I don't know if anyone has read the Redwall series by Brian Jakes. one of my favorite series. It's this series of books. It technically is for, I think it's like young adult reading or whatever, but it's like this medieval world that is peopled with mice and otters and badgers, right? And there's the badgers. They're okay. So the badgers, they're either they're either guardians of the children, or they're the big warriors. Like they live in the forge. There's like this extinct volcano called Salabandastron, where the badger lords live, and they forge their weapons, and they have armor, and they come out and protect. It's like I'm just getting this strong guardian, like, but it's a combination. It's like in what I'm feeling is a combination of that, the softer kind of guardian of like the children and stuff. At the same time, you have that mighty. But then at the same time, there's been in the books there are also female badgers who were the warriors as well. So kind of Celtic that way. The women are warriors too. But so it's like, congratulations for finding that warrior spirit within you to stand your ground, to know what you are worth, and to let things just take them down if it's something. How do I want to put this? Well, I just keep picturing it with this giant axe, and it's like if there's a fallen tree or something in your way, it's just like, and you're just plowing your way through wherever you need to go to fix whatever you need to do. That's right, you guys are officially Lord and Lady, right? So Lord Joe, he's going to be the Badger Lord now. Awesome. Those books, I love those books. When I was married a whole lifetime ago, my ex-wife at one point had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so we went through, she eventually was in remission. But one of the things that got me through that period of my life was Redwall, was reading about these little mice warriors and the rabbits, the hare, the Long Patrol, the hares that were the kind of the army of the Badger Lords and the abbots. It's Redwall Abbey, so it's kind of this little monastery. Which appealed to me too, coming from a Catholic family and going to my college was at a Benedictine monastery. So yeah. So anyway, I hope that's helpful, Joe. Just good job. Congratulations. You are the Badger Lord. All right, Davlin, it's your turn. Sorry it took so long. I keep trying to be more succinct with these readings, but I fail miserably at that. Piscine Lady. Roulette is the Piscine Lady. That's awesome. The salmon. All right, Davlin. Let's see who is coming forward to play with you this week. All right. Davlin, you got the porcupine. Porcupine is about innocence. Porcupine. So what I like to talk, like when porcupine comes up, what I like to say is that innocence is its own protection, right? You are already whole. You are already a high vibrational spiritual being, right? That's your default setting. That is your essence of who you really are. And we get educated out of that, right? When we're growing up, when we're going to school, it's kind of the rank and file. We're taught, to get in line, to not stick out, to become something that we're not. And because we're taught to be something we're not, that's where a lot of our anxieties and fears come from, because we're not whole, because you're still whole. Underneath it all, you are always whole. There is a part of your soul that is eternal, that cannot even be touched, that is unharmed, that will go on for eternity. That is your true identity. Everything outside of that is frosting, is story, is adventure, right? The ego, all of that kind of stuff. So by surrendering into our self, our essential self, our deepest soul self, that is how we raise our frequency, right? There's a lot of talk about raising your frequency, and every time I hear that, I picture people like, gotta raise it, gotta push it up, gotta raise it. And all that does is lowers it. Raising your frequency is about surrendering, right? It's about going beyond duality and realizing the non-dual nature of the universe, so that ultimately there is nothing to be afraid of. Ultimately, there is nothing that can come against you. And so when instead of like, okay, there's this obstacle, I need to hit it head on, you're actually lowering your frequency to hit that obstacle head on, right? But if you stay up here, this might still be a worry, it might still be but maintaining that higher frequency, chances are this will just piddle out, disperse, whatever. It's by being in our power that we are the safest. And actually, I just saw a post from Martha Beck. I mentioned her earlier, and she was saying, what was it that she said? It was something about not even using the word safe, because the word safe has a connotation that there is something to be safe from, that there is something to fear, that there is something out there to get you. And so it's more about feeling whole. Because I like to think of porcupine as this little star. If you think of each of those quills as a ray of light, right? They emanate from porcupine's core. They're an expression of who he is. And so by being himself, by surrendering into who he is, these quills are part of him. And what are they but a higher frequency, density of hair, right? And so when you surrender into the innocence of yourself, the purity of yourself, that's what raises your frequency. And just like those high frequency quills, the higher your frequency and the more full your energy field, there's no holes for anything to get in. Nothing of a lower frequency can come into your energy field. So the best protection, like Kyle C says, the best protection is an open heart. And so there's a thing that I learned with Sandra Ingerman. She does a whole course on, it's called Medicine for the Earth. And what she teaches is what she calls transfiguration. And what it basically is I love the mantra she gave us to do this work is, thank you for, let's see, how does it go? Thank you for taking from me that which separates me from my divine light. Thank you for taking from me that which separates me from my divine light. And so when you move into that divine light, it's like namaste. The divine in me greets the divine in you. And when you're in that divinity, it changes everything. This is how everything heals. This is how everything changes. By raising your frequency, it's about entrainment, like the same phenomenon that happens when you have a room full of clocks. Eventually, all those clocks are tick-tocking at the same rate. And it's like the highest frequency in a room is going to draw everyone else up to that frequency. Or if you've got a household of women, eventually their moon time is all going to be synced up, depending on who's the strongest vibration. And it's the same thing when you raise your vibration. Nothing of a lesser vibration can get you. And plus it shifts the vibration around you so that things that might have harmed you before or challenged you, it basically, if you picture this ball of radiant light coming out around you, it basically clears your path before you. It clears your path of anyone that might come at you, anything of a lower nature. So trust in yourself, trust in your innate divineness, your innate wholeness, your divine light. And when you find yourself in darkness, know that you are the divine presence. You are the divine light. Does that make sense, Devlin? But because he's in his innocence and purity, Porcupine can just wander through the forest, looking at all the oh, that looks like a cool log. I wonder what's under that. And that curiosity, that place, when you can nurture that place of curiosity, then you know you're okay. When you're curious about things and, prickly but awesome. And if people think you're prickly, that's a sign that they don't resonate with you, because if they were resonating at the same frequency, it's like two porcupines. They know exactly how to, touch and play and whatever without getting hurt. But if you're prickly to someone, that's a sign that they are not one of your people. I always... stuff comes through, and then I say it, and then I have to think for a second. It's like, okay, should I have said that, or do I need to clarify that? But it's true. It's like, never lower your frequency for anybody. That is the way we heal the world. And that is basically how a shaman heals. Exactly. People in your life who are true to you, who love you, they have the same energy, and they will know how to relate to you without the prickliness. Perfect. Good job. You just got chills. You got it. You got it, Devlin. Awesome. All right, Sarah, it is your turn. All right. Sarah, what came up for you was Prairie Dog in reverse. And when I do these cards, like, reverse is not bad. There is no such thing as a bad reading. The cards just reflect what we need to know And like if a card comes up reverse, it's not, oh my God, what did I do wrong? You haven't done anything wrong. There is nothing wrong with you. What Prairie Dog in reverse tells me is that you're in desperate need for some time off. You need to retreat from the world. You need to, prairie dogs are very community oriented. They're this living, bustling, playful family community, but they also know that in order to be the best citizen of the community, that they have to be the best version of themselves. And so in their vast prairie dog towns underground, they always have chambers where the individual prairie dogs can go and spend time by themselves. My guess is that you are probably very empathic. You probably pick up on everybody else's energy. So it gets very confusing who you are, where you end and the other person starts. And so it's vital for you to be able to have a time or a space, ideally somewhere you can go, even if it's mentally, even if it's your happy place or meditation or something like that, but some place and some time completely to yourself. Turn off all the electronics, be by yourself. And even the thing is, and I know this from experience and being an introvert, that means being totally by yourself, right? Because if you're, well, I guess if there's someone else and you're in your bedroom and you can do the sacred space around you and stuff, that's one thing. But at the same time, it's like when you're in some, if you're someplace like your home or an apartment or whatever, and there's someone else home, there's always that awareness of someone else, and their energy is always a factor. So what needs to happen for you is to have that time alone where there is no influence or interruption by anyone else's energy. Okay? So that you can get that baseline feel of what your energy feels like. And from that place, going forward, then, you might be walking down the street and all of a sudden you feel angry or you get a headache or something like that. And you can check in and say, okay, that's not mine. That doesn't feel like mine. And when that happens, then you can release that, right? Again, like what I was talking about, porcupine with Davlin. You recognize that's not yours, and so you surrender back into your own energy, and you release that. And the thing is that chances are, by you raising your frequency and letting go of that, whatever it is, that energy, you're actually most likely healing the person where it originated from. Okay? That is empath's superpower. That is how we heal the world, by knowing ourselves so well that we know our baseline, we know what our energy feels like. So if anything foreign comes in, we can transmute it, right? Kind of like the transfiguration I was just talking about. That thank you for taking from me that which separates me from my divine light. And when you do that, you raise your frequency, you release whatever energy is not yours, and most likely you just raise the frequency for whoever is having that difficulty. The other thing about Prairie Dog that I think is important for you, Prairie Dog also, they always have a sentinel on duty. There's always at least one prairie dog whose job it is to scan the horizon, to scan the skies for predators, right? And because of that, the other prairie dogs can just go about their business, having fun, whatever, doing their thing. Because if a raptor appears or a coyote shows up on the horizon, the alarm will go up, and then you can scamper to safety, right? So know that you are being watched over, that you are safe. Okay? You don't have to be hyper vigilant for every little threat coming at you. You have guides, you have angels that are watching over you, and you are intuitive enough that if there is a threat and you need to take cover, you're going to know it. Okay? You can relax and you can trust your feelings, you can trust your intuition, you can trust your guides and your ancestors to navigate you away from trouble, away from threats. You know, I heard something by Abraham Hicks one time. It was basically, I never try to quote directly because I never get them right, but it was to the effect that your guidance will never guide you to protect yourself from something else. Your guidance will always guide you to your highest possible being. Something like that. And it kind of goes along with what I was saying earlier about the non-dual nature of the universe. And I'm not, and I totally understand that what I'm saying is easier said than done. I'm not saying this is an easy thing to do. It takes time, it's a process. But when there's a challenge, when there's some anxiety coming up, and I speak from experience because I went through a whole 10-year period or more of extreme anxiety and panic attacks. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this. And the more you can surrender to the anxiety, to the fear, it sounds weird because as soon as you feel that fear, you want to fight it, you want to resist it. But the more you can surrender and just tell yourself you are allowed to feel this way. When there is no resistance, that anxiety and that panic, it doesn't necessarily go boom right away, but the more you can do that, the more you will find yourself on solid footing and going, okay, this is just anxiety, this is just a fear. It's not going to kill me. I'm going to get through this. And every time you do that, you feel a little bit more confident, a little more stronger, a little more on solid ground. Okay? And the way I picture it is when an anxiety comes up, when you get tight because, oh my God, what am I going to do kind of thing. Or just from being overwhelmed by so many things going on, you feel that tightness. And the way I deal with it personally, I picture that tightness like a hot bath, right? It's a little bit too hot for comfort. And so you have to ease your way in, right? You might ease your way in and pull back, and then ease your way a little bit further, then pull back and ease in until it's no longer a thing, right? So it's like you get that tightness in as much as you can. You just kind of like feel into it, surrender. Okay, breathe. Okay, just a little bit further. Oh, okay, I'm safe. I'm okay. Okay, does that help? I hope that helps. Just know that you are safe, you are protected, you are watched over. And that I was going to say you're special, but not. Everyone's special in their own way, right? But you have a special talent. That's exactly what I'm saying, Sarah. I'm not going to read your whole thing out loud, but that is exactly it. So know that you're doing the right thing. Know that you are your priority, right? No one else has a say in what you do and who you are and how you present, how you express yourself in the world, right? There is no one more powerful than you. There is no one less powerful than you. But in getting to know yourself, it's like I have this prayer that I wrote years ago. I actually said it, I think, a few weeks ago. But part of the prayer is like, thank you for the strength and the courage to be true to myself and thereby true to all others. Because we're all connected. And the more true you are to yourself, to thine own self be true, by raising yourself, you are raising everyone else, right? The tide raises all ships. So by taking care of yourself, you're actually taking care of everyone around you. So good job. You're already doing it. Awesome. All right. All right, Renee, you are the 6th card. And then we have an extra card at the end for everybody. All right, Renee, this one doesn't come up for a while. You got Swan, but in reverse, which again is not bad. Swan medicine is about grace. And Swan medicine is in a big part basically the story of the ugly duckling, right? That inner critic gone wild, always judging yourself, always criticizing yourself. But those voices that you hear putting you down are not your own voice. It's the voice of, could be parents, teachers, authorities, whatever. Trying, like I was saying earlier about, trying not to stick out, trying to keep you in that box, right? The thing is, you are not a duck, you are a swan. You have been raised among the ducks, so you might not know who you are, but you've always felt a little off. You've always felt like you didn't quite fit in, right? And that's because you don't. Because you came here to be the highest version of yourself. And so everything that has ever happened, trying to think of how to put this. All the adversity, all the resistance that you have experienced in your life, has actually helped you to know yourself better than most people do. When you realize you don't belong, you have a choice. You have a choice to either, bend yourself and fold yourself into a shape that will fit into the box that everybody expects you to be in, or you can spread your wings and disperse the boxes. It's kind of like one or the other. But your destiny, think about Swan. I don't know anybody who sees a swan and is like, ew, get that out of my sight, ew, right? I don't know anyone who doesn't gasp or as awestruck when they see a swan. And that is That is what you came here to do. That is who you came here to be. And there's I feel there's a lot of Phoenix energy for you. And rather than fighting for who you are, trying to justify yourself or prove yourself to everyone who denies who you are or tries to put you in the box, tries to judge you, all of that crap is the fuel for the fire for the phoenix to be born. All of that stuff from the past, all of the expectations, all of the criticism, all of the judgment, that is fuel for the fire. That's all it is. It's done. It doesn't affect who you are, but it will light the way for you to spread those wings and to become the inspiration for others, right? When we think about our heroes, when we think about the people that we admire, most of the people who are heroes to us, most of the people who we admire, there's a strength to them, but it's not that it's not this kind of, I don't know why I'm going to macho, kind of like, take your best shot, chip on my shoulder kind of thing. There's a grace, there's a presence. It's like the stones, I grew up by lakes. We went to Lake Superior a lot as a kid. And you find those stones on the shore of Lake Superior that have been washed up and back, up and back, up and back. And they're smooth and they're round. And they've had all those edges and corners and stuff rubbed off, just like putting a crystal in a tumbler, right? The people who we admire most are those who stand with this presence. It's not standing against anyone. They have their own inner light that shines outward, that radiates out. And that light comes from the fuel of all the adversity that they have experienced in their past. I don't know anyone who would be considered a hero who hasn't had a tough life. It's because of that tough life. It's because of that adversity, And I have a lot of friends who are LGBTQ. I always get the letters mixed up, but you know what I mean. And that community, there are so many people who know themselves so much better than the mainstream people, than anyone just walking down the street, because they've had to stand up through all the muck and the grime to find out who they are. It's because of those tests and trials that they've become so gleamingly and radiantly themselves. So I hope that is helpful. You are destined to fly. You are destined to be this angelic bird, pure white, that everyone admires, everyone looks up to, right? So everything they do is graceful. And that's what happens when you face so much of that adversity, okay? I hope that's helpful. And that was our 6th card. I hope that was helpful, Renee. I hope that helps. Believe in yourself, okay? Believe in yourself. Okay. I don't know why I always hesitate to say things like this, but there's also, along with swan medicine, I'm picking up like unicorn energy. That purity, you know, unicorns are the highest, most pure vibration of any creature. They heal just by their presence, right? It's like they can clear an entire body of water by just sticking their horn in, because they are such a high vibration, because they are so pure. And it's kind of like you're shedding off, you're facing all these dark things and patches that people have put upon you, so that your light, that purity, like the unicorn, just by your presence, people are healed. Just by your presence, people flock to you. Flock like a swan. People feel more, they feel more themselves around you. You bring a calm and a grace to everyone, and people enjoy your company just to be in your company. So know that that is your superpower, okay? You're doing good. You're doing better than you think you are. You are further along your path than you think you are, okay? You got this. All right. So one more card for everybody, whether you got a card or not. And as I'm shuffling, I was realizing I should say this stuff before I finish, because I get to the end and then I do my blatant self-promotion, and it's like everyone kind of leaves. And so while I am shuffling for the 6th card, I just want to remind you that if you enjoyed tonight, or if you have more questions, I am available for full card spreads, full readings, half hour or hour. It's just my joy to be able to help the light come on for people, to help people see more clearly what's going on, to help people find their path. I also do shamanic healing, like soul retrieval, energy healing, extraction, all that good stuff. And I've also got some classes coming up if you're interested in shamanism. Next Tuesday, the 14th, I'm going to be doing an Introduction to Shamanic Journey class. It's a 3-hour class where you learn the background of shamanism, what it is, where it came from, why it came, and then you learn to actually perform a shamanic journey where you, using the repetition of the drum, it entrains your brain waves to a theta state, so you can access your spirit guides. You journey to the spirit realm, and you will meet your power animal spirit guide. So if that sounds enticing, if that sounds exciting, you can check out my Facebook page here, or my website, perchingwolfstudios.net, to see all the different things that I offer, to see information for the classes. And then if you are interested beyond that, at starting Thursday the 23rd, I'm going to be doing a year-long course called Deepening the Journey, where every month we get together and we explore a different aspect of shamanism. We learn the different questions to ask. We meet different spirit guides. We learn where we can go, what we can do. It's kind of an application. Oh, thank you, Marcy. I just did a soul retrieval for Marcy, and it was amazing. Marcy, you did so much. I'm just a facilitator. I'm the hollow bone, as we call it in shamanism. It's the spirits that do the work, and a large part of it is how receptive you are to receiving those soul parts coming back. So, and Roulette, I would love to do a soul retrieval for you. I can't wait. What else? I will have my PayPal information under this video when I share it to my Facebook page. I also upload it to my YouTube channel, my Perching Wolf Studios YouTube channel. So subscribe to that, like my videos, and this is my day job. So any help that you have for me, if you if you got something out of tonight and you want to support me a little bit more, I will have my PayPal information under the video. And I thank you so very much. You know, a shaman's job is to support the community that supports them. And so thank you for supporting me just by watching this, just by sharing this video, and whatever else. And another thing that just became available. Okay, now I'm feeling, I should probably be quiet, but just started a Shaman Share program where if you've had work like a reading or healing or whatever with me, and you want to share that shamanic joy, you can actually pay for a half hour or an hour session. It's kind of like those coffee shops where you can come in and you can buy a coffee for whoever the next person who comes in and can't afford it or whatever like that. So it's kind of like sharing for people that might want a reading or healing and can't quite afford it. You can actually share the joy, share the love. And you can do that on my website as well. So, all right, enough of that. One more card for the collective, whether you got a reading or not. Ha! All right, dog. You are so welcome, Renee. It's an honor. I am so glad that you got something from that. So dog. Whether you got a reading or not tonight, dog is with you this week. And dog is basically heart. Dog has the biggest heart of anyone in the animal kingdom, right? And so what I was saying earlier, that whole, thank you for the strength and the courage to be true to myself and thereby true to all others. That is the essence of dog. Dog is about loyalty, but that loyalty has to start with yourself. And by loving yourself, you draw to you your tribe, your pack, right? It's not chasing after others. Oh, please be my friend. And shifting yourself, bending over, trying to fit into a box so that others like you. But when you do that, you surround yourself with people who don't get you. Like Davelin earlier with the porcupine, and how if you're prickly to someone else, that's not part of your tribe. When you're radiating that love for yourself, when you love yourself, then when you have friends, you don't have ulterior motives, right, for being friends. You're not friends for someone because there's something they can do for you, or that you feel you need to save them or something like that. You are whole in your own, and you attract to you only those people who are whole unto themselves, who can, without ulterior motives, support you and remind you of who you are, right? That's what friends do. That's what community does. It's not that they save you or, take care of you as someone with power to someone without power. When you are feeling like when you forget who you are, when you have a lower sense of your power, they help remind you of your power and pull you back up to remember yourself. So remember yourself. Remember that you are whole. Remember that you are spirit having a human experience and not the other way around. You are naturally divine. You are naturally high frequency. And you don't have to justify yourself to anyone. That's dog. Be loyal to yourself, and you will find that loyalty and love in the world around you. And the people will flock to you to be with their tribe. Okay? So that's it for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll be here again next week at 8 o'clock. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Renee. I just confirmed your relationship with Marcy. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, it's like you have to be true to yourself if you want people around you who are going to be true to you. So thank you guys so much. I so appreciate you. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you next week. Invite your friends. If you're interested, Wednesday nights at 7, I also do a live video, which is the sacred pipe ceremony. Basically, for an hour, I hold space through the sacred pipe ceremony of the Lakota people and allow you to connect to spirit, take the world off your shoulders, and relax. So that's Wednesday night at 7. Otherwise, I hope to see you again next week at Monday night at 8. Until I see you again, know that I love you, that I see you, and that I honor you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, everyone. Thank you so very much. Go shining. Bye.